What's up guys, it's Taylor and I am back with another video. You already know the deal if you read the title. Today I am recapping episode 15 of the Challenge Total Madness on MTV. Now this was a pretty good episode, getting down to the nitty gritty. So without further ado, let's get into it. So basically the episode starts off with everybody coming back from elimination. If you remember, last week was a double elimination for guys and girls. Both Kyle and Bailey both won their eliminations, and now everyone in the house has red skulls. So everybody's coming back from that elimination, and we see Kyle and Bananas talking, and they're talking about how this next tribunal is crucial because now, you know, we're basically determining who we want, you know, in there with us. You know, we don't know, we think it's like one or two, maybe one. It's probably one elimination left and everything like that. So you know, they're basically talking about how, you know, they need to win and everything like that, and they need to make sure, you know, if they're not in the tribunal themselves, whoever's in the tribunal, you know, is people that they can trust. So that's basically what they're talking about. In this first scene, we also see Corey and Nelson talking. They're just talking to each other, you know, talking about how they both want to win and everything like that. Nelson is saying that, you know, he really wants to, you know, give it his all, and he wants a chance to win the $1 million. And Corey is basically saying the same. Corey, you know, he's like, I got a family, I got a kid, I got another kid on the way, and I want this money so I can provide for my family. That would mean a lot to me. So, you know, we kind of see those two talking, and we see their brotherhood, their friendship, which has really grown over the past couple of years, you know, on the show and off the show, you know, is really commendable. So that was that first scene. So next we have this week's challenge. This week's challenge is called Crash Course. So basically, with everybody left in the house, I think it's 11 people. So what's gonna happen is everyone, 10 people, which is like one person less, but yeah. So 10 people are gonna stand on barrels, these big stacked barrels, like in the middle of this runway. And the one person left over who's not standing on the barrel at the time is gonna be in a stunt car. And what that person has to do is they have to drive really fast into these barrels, and then they like have to make like a certain turn. I forgot what they called it, but they have to make like a certain type of turn, like the turns you see like on Fast and Furious and stuff like that. So they have to make a turn, and they are gonna crash into all these barrels, and you know, everyone's gonna fall and everything like that. So basically, the man and the woman who crash into the barrels and knock down the most barrels, sending them the furthest, will be the first man and woman in the tribunal. And that's important because before, TJ says that this is also a double elimination week. So that's why the first man and the woman to get the furthest will be the first two in the tribunal, and of course they'll pick a third. So that's how that's gonna go. First up, we have Rogan. He knocks over 18 barrels. They only put the amount of barrels that the person knocked over. They didn't put how far that they knocked them. So I don't even know how they measured that in the game. I think that was just like a stat. Maybe that was something that they did in-house. I don't know. But basically, you know, I'm just gonna run down the list of, you know, what everybody did, because there really wasn't any strategy with this except, you know, actually hitting the barrels, but we'll get to that. Rogan knocked over 18 barrels. Then Casey was next, and she knocked over 18 barrels. Bananas knocked over 25. That was a big one. Kyle knocked over no barrels because he doesn't even make it. Kyle doesn't even make it to the barrels when he's driving the car. And it's so funny. I didn't know this, but apparently Kyle's dad is a stunt driver. Like, that's what his dad does for a living. So it was a whole thing. Like, he didn't even make it to the barrels. Like, your dad does this, and you, what do you do? You know, so that was hilarious. But Kyle didn't knock over any barrels. Jenny knocks over 12 barrels. Dee knocks over 6 barrels. Melissa knocks over 12. Corey knocks over 21. Nelson also knocks over 0 barrels because it's not that he didn't make it to the barrels. He kind of swerved to the side. So he went kind of past the barrels and did the turn. He didn't hit anything. That was hilarious to watch too. So Nelson knocked over 0 barrels. Fessy knocks over 21, and Bailey knocks over 18. So that's basically everyone, and so everyone's finished at that point. They're all back in front of TJ, and TJ says that the man and the woman who knocked over the most barrels, and I guess the furthest, even though they didn't say anything about that, were Bananas, who knocked over 25, and Casey, who knocked over 18. And that was big because it was really actually between Casey and Bailey. They were the two girls who knocked over the most barrels. It was between those two, and I guess, you know, Casey, you know, took it. So Bananas and Casey, they are the first two members of the tribunal, and they have to pick a third now. And they're talking. Casey says that she wants to bring in Fessy because Fessy is her closest ally now in the house, and she wants to bring him in. But Bananas, of course, made a promise to Kyle, and so I guess Casey kind of took a back seat there, and Bananas decides, well, they both decide that they're going to bring in Kyle. So now the tribunal is Bananas, Kyle, and Casey, and they have to interrogate two girls and two guys, and the house has to nominate a guy and a girl. So that's what's gonna happen. So everybody is coming back from this week's challenge, and we see, you know, people are kind of scrambling. You know, this is basically it. Fessy is talking to Bananas and Kyle, and he's like, I'll do whatever you guys want me to, but don't send me in. You know, I'll do whatever you need me to do. You need me to vote a certain way, you need me to do whatever, I got you. I'm not gonna say your name, I'll say your name, however it works. I do not want to go into this final elimination. Please don't say my name. And I think, you know, they basically agree with him. They're like, we got you, Fessy, don't even worry about that. And then as far as the girls go, we kind of see Jenny kind of scrambling because, you know, Jenny has said multiple times that, you know, she doesn't want to go back in and get her red skull. You know, everybody in their house has it, you know, and she kind of, I guess you could say she kind of runs her mouth a little bit too much because she's in the room with, I think, Nelson and Bailey, and it was one other person in there, and she's telling Nelson like, hey, you know, I'm not gonna say you and Corey's name if, you know, basically you don't say mine, and, you know, I'll throw my vote at Rogan, you know, because, you know, I don't owe him anything, or at least she says she doesn't owe him anything, but I don't owe him anything, so I'll keep you and Corey's name out your mouth. Of course, Nelson sees this as shady, and he goes back and he tells Rogan himself and Corey what Jenny just said, and that kind of causes a stir, you know, because now everybody's kind of looking at Jenny funny, because it's like, why is she doing this? She's trying to save her own ass. So they're looking at, you know, Jenny funny, especially Rogan. I don't know, he kind of feels betrayed and everything like that, because back when Jenny was on the chopping block some weeks ago, he gave her a heads up, you know, and so for her to turn around and do this, you know, kind of sucks. I gotta say, even with the stuff that happened, I think that was last week with the whole Corey situation and everything like that, I personally don't think Jenny's a snake. I just don't think that she's aware that you can't go around telling everybody everything. You know, I really do think that Jenny tries and tried to play clean. I don't think she's a snake at all, you know, but you can't promise, you know, once again, you can't promise everybody everything in this game. Well, at least, you know, if you're not Johnny Bananas or Wes or anything like that, you can't promise everybody everything in this game. You have to be aware of who you're talking to and who that person is connected to. Will they go back and tell so-and-so this and that? So I think, you know, that kind of, Jenny just kind of got caught up, but, you know, it is what it is. But that was that. So now it's House Noms, and we see Rogan kind of start things off, and he basically beats everybody to the punch. He's look, I'm gonna throw myself in because I'm not gonna allow you guys to even get the chance to say my name and you know, say whatever you want about me. I'm gonna throw myself in. Is everybody okay with that? Everybody is pretty much in agreement, and he kind of goes at Jenny. He's like, Jenny, how could you? You know, I gave you a heads up a couple weeks ago when they were trying to, you know, say your name and everything like that, and the fact that you would go behind my back and vote me in because what, you know? So I definitely get where Rogan is coming from, but he basically nominated himself. Everybody was pretty much in agreement in the house, and Rogan is the nominee for the guys. So when it's time for the girls to, you know, or just when it's time for everybody to vote for a girl, it kind of gets tricky because Jenny, she starts it off and she throws a vote at D, and D returns the favor. Then we see Melissa vote for Bailey. Why, I don't know, but Melissa votes for Bailey. Bailey throws it back at Melissa. Fessy votes for D. Corey votes for Jenny, and I think rightfully so. He's probably still upset about last week, what happened the week before. And he votes for Jenny. Nelson also votes for Jenny. And Rogan, of course, votes for Jenny. So that's basically, I think that's basically it. And Jenny is the nominee for the girls, which is exactly what she didn't want. It's funny how that kind of works out. But so she's a nominee for the girls, and you know, House Noms is over. And so after all that, you know, everybody's kind of going back and telling the tribunal, because they're not allowed to be at House Noms, what happened. And Bananas and Kyle are kind of like, why did y'all vote Jenny in? Especially to Melissa, because you know, Melissa is Kyle's closest ally, and she's actually been a really close ally with Jenny too. So they're like, why would you split the vote? Because she voted for Bailey. Why would you split the vote when you could just, you know, help Jenny out? You know, it kind of seems kind of shady. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? So Kyle is mad at her. Bananas isn't mad, but he's like, you know, I kind of get where Kyle's coming from. It doesn't look good. Even if you didn't intend for it to go like this, it doesn't look good. So she's upset. Kyle's upset at her. She goes to talk to Jenny. Jenny's obviously upset because everybody's calling her a snake and looking at her funny and everything like that. So it's a whole mess, but that was the whole House Nom situation. So basically it's time for the tribunal, and once again the tribunal is Kyle, Casey, and Bananas. So they had to pick 2 girls and 2 guys to interrogate, and the 2 girls that they picked were Bailey and Dee, and Corey and Nelson. So basically, you know, everybody that they picked basically said come what may. You know, everybody in the house has red skulls. You know, somebody's gonna have to go in. You know, it's not really too personal at this point, except for some people. You know, somebody's gonna have to go in, somebody has to do it. You know, so they're all basically come what may. So that was basically quick. It was a quick tribunal thing. But after the tribunal, what's interesting is that Nelson goes to Kyle and Bananas personally, and he's like, look, I want you guys to put me in. Corey's my best friend, he's my brother, he has a baby on the way. You know, I want to give him the best shot of getting to the $1 million kind of untouched. You know, not that Nelson doesn't want to be here anymore or anything like that, but he just wants to help his brother out. And that's highly honorable and commendable of Nelson. It's personally not something I would have done, but I definitely get it and I understand. And yeah, you know, that's a friend right there. That's definitely a friend. That's a real friend. So I got mad respect for Nelson. I've been highly critical of him this whole entire season, but that move right there, I respect it a lot. So he told Bananas and Kyle to throw him in. Obviously they said it's gonna depend on what's best for their game, but they appreciated that. So that was that situation. So now it is time for purgatory, and the nominees come down, Rogan and Jenny. And the tribunal, for the girls, they decide to vote for D. And for the guys, as per Nelson's request, they send him in. They tell Corey what Nelson, you know, did for him. And obviously Corey is touched emotionally, but he said he didn't want to psych Nelson out. And you know, he's very obviously appreciative of what Nelson did, and we see that. And that was a cool moment. Well, I think they hugged before he went down, but you know, he didn't want to psych him out or whatever. But anyways, cool moment and everything like that. So getting to this week's elimination, it is a fan favorite, one that we have seen played on this show for years, and one of my personal favorites, and a really like true show of strength. Hall Brawl, one of my favorite eliminations ever. Many greats have done Hall Brawl. Many underdogs have caused a lot of upsets in Hall Brawl. One of the greatest. It's been played 2 ways with 2 people going. You know, at another 2 people, it's been played 1-on-1, and it's one of the best eliminations in my opinion that has ever been on this show, and that's what we are playing this week. So first up are the girls. So we have Jenny and Dee. TJ blows the horn, and right away Jenny knocks the wind, and I'm not joking when I say this. You can see it on screen. Jenny knocks the wind out of D, literally. First of all, I don't want to say I knew this would happen. I mean, I know D's like been edited out and everything like that, basically, but it wasn't even a contest. Like, Jenny knocked the wind out of her in the first round. First of all, Jenny knew to get low. I don't know if D had a strategy. Obviously, we would never know because we can't see what she said in the confessional before this elimination. We don't know what she was thinking. Obviously, we don't have that opportunity anymore. But whatever her strategy was, it didn't work, because obviously anybody who's played Hall Brawl or who's just seen Hall Brawl knows that in order to have any chance, you have to get low, okay? Jenny got low and knocked the wind out of D, okay? And at that point, you could tell D was startled. And so she's just like pushing D back. And, you know, she basically, you know, kind of just like steps over D and runs to the bell. First round. Second round, once again, Jenny got low. I think D kind of, she tried a little bit. She tried a little bit on the second round, but Jenny got her. And you know what's funny? Last season, this is the exact elimination that Jenny went home against Tori. Tori took Jenny out last season with Hall Brawl. And the fact that Jenny was probably like, nobody else taking me out in Hall Brawl, I'm doing this. So she, once again in the second round, she just mowed over D, kind of bullied her, and Jenny took it. Jenny is the champion, and we say goodbye to D for this season and forever because of everything that happened. So that was that with the girls. Now, for the guys, for Rogan and Nelson, whew, man, this was a true head-to-head. These boys was banging for real. So TJ blows the horn, and right away, both of them knowing what they got to do, they both getting low, and it's a true head-to-head. Once they meet, like with that contact, like first contact, it's a true head-to-head. It's like two bulls wrestling with like horns and everything like that. That was crazy. Rogan, obviously Rogan is big. I don't know about height. I don't know anything about height, but as far as like muscle mass and stuff like that, Rogan is a bit bigger than Nelson, but Nelson's still strong. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, Nelson's still strong. Rogan's just a little bit bigger. True show of strength. These guys are wrestling and stuff like that. They're holding each other and everything like that. Now, a mistake probably that, you know, I don't know if it haunts Nelson, but once they kind of get over that wrestling thing and they're kind of just trying to keep each other from getting to the bell, at that point Nelson is holding on to Rogan, and he's holding on for a little bit too long because he has a clear path to his bell on the other side, and he's holding on to Rogan. He's too concerned about not letting Rogan get to his bell, and he doesn't realize that he has a clear path to his own bell. So he kind of misses that gate, or misses that opportunity, that open window, and Rogan kind of gets loose and he runs to his bell and he wins the first round. So, you know, that's that. Now, second round, once again, TJ blows the horn and they go. And I think obviously Nelson is a bit more conscious of this now. So they're still wrestling and wrestling and wrestling. And I think Nelson, he saw that he had an open window to go to his bell, and he does let go, and Rogan trips. So Nelson actually had a chance. But, you know, I don't know what it is. Maybe he was a bit disoriented. They did hit each other hard and stuff like that. But not Rogan. Nelson kept tripping and stuff like that and trying to get through the little like hallway and everything like that. And you know, Rogan just got to his bell faster, and Rogan wins this week's elimination. And unfortunately, we say goodbye to Nelson. You know, I mean, it kind of sucked. Corey came down, he gave him a hug. That's his brother, man. They're friends. You know, once again, it's honorable what Nelson did. He wanted to help Corey out, and we say goodbye to D and Nelson. But that's basically it for, you know, this week's episode. TJ does announce that everybody's going to the final next week, so we're gearing up for the final episodes of Total Madness, and I'm excited to see what happens. But yeah, so that's basically it for this week's episode. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the entire video. Please like and subscribe. I will be back next week with another recap video. Until next time, peace out.